The fans are ready. The drivers are ready. This is the RACC Rally de España and the final day of the 2012 FIA World Rally Championship. It's been quite some journey over the opening two legs. The rain came in Spain for day one, and only the best drivers would survive the treacherous conditions. Three leaders in the first three stages were an indication of the mayhem to come. Jari-Matti Latvala, Ott Tänak and Mads Östberg sharing top honours early on. The crazy muddy conditions made just staying on the road the main challenge. And over the course of the day, half the WRC field signed their name on the retirement list. The treacherous conditions would cause Catalan carnage. Even the big guns weren't spared after Dani Sordo, Thierry Neuville and Peder Solberg were claimed on stage two after slamming into a huge pothole. The pair left stranded at the side of the road.
Sometimes you cannot explain how it can happen. It's so big disappointment.
WRC debutant Hans Weiss had one of many lucky escapes on stage 5 when he slammed his Citroën into a tree. It had been an eventful first day at school for the Dutchman. He went on to close out the day in 7th. There were, though, a few drivers who'd battled their way through the mud bath. Mikko Hirvonen was running in 3rd at the start of the afternoon loop. But this off cost him the place to Latvala. Meanwhile, taking advantage of the high attrition rate, Sebastian Loeb found himself up into 2nd position. And Jari-Matti had recovered from a sluggish start to fight back to 3rd. But out in front at the end of day one was master of the mud, Mads Östberg. His advantage over Loeb, just over 30 seconds. The day's stages may have been over, but one last challenge remained. With the gravel roads completed, the team set about changing from gravel to tarmac spec, a big job in just 1 hour and 15 minutes. The sun rose over Salou for day 2, but the asphalt stages were still damp in places, making grip levels unpredictable, and that would prove to be rally leader Östberg's downfall.
I'm really disappointed now, but it's still a long way to go, and we just have to try to get back into the rhythm.
Sebastian Loeb saw his opportunity and pounced into the top spot for the first time in Spain. Meanwhile, Latvala began the day with a bang with a stunning stage win on 7. Jari desperately wanted to take the fight to Loeb, but after that began to slip adrift.
I can't get him. I'm sorry. I don't have words. It just, I don't know. I'm just disappointed, but that's the way it is.
Mikko Hirvonen ended his day well, passing Mads Östberg to take 3rd position. And early leader Ott Tänak rubbed salt in the Norwegian's wound by ending the day with a stage win, relegating Mads down to 5th. But up at the front, unbeaten on Spanish soil since 2005, Sebastian Loeb looks set to end his final full season in the WRC in some style.
It's going well for me. I feel well in the car, and Jari-Matti was pushing very hard in the start of the day, but now I don't know if he's trying anymore, but for me the feeling was really good, so I continue to push.
So after 2 days, Loeb's lead stands at 27 seconds over Latvala, with Hirvonen well adrift in 3rd. As things stand, with Mads Östberg now down in 5th, Jari-Matti will take 3rd place in the championship. If the Norwegian can get past Tänak, it could come down to a power stage showdown where extra points are up for grabs. And here's what's in store over the final day. Based closer to Rally HQ in Salou, the drivers have a total of 6 stages to tackle, covering 94 kilometres. The second running of the 26-kilometre Sansa Marina hosts the potentially crucial power stage. Sebastian Loeb leads the cruiserweight, followed by Latvala. Mikko Hirvonen goes third with Voit Tanak and Mads Osberg hot on his heels. WRC rookie Hans Weiss starts sixth ahead of Evgeny Novikov and the recovering Petter Solberg and Thierry Neuville, with local star Danny Sordo in 10th. So the final action of 2012, the 16 kilometres of Rio de Cañas is up first. And with the Spanish fans streaming into the stages, somewhat fittingly, it's 9-time world champion and rally leader Sebastian Loeb who gets us underway. Loeb and Daniel Elena storm away into the Catalan countryside, potentially for the last time, with the sport's most successful ever driver stepping back from a full campaign in 2013.
Et droite sans plus long, pour gauche sans 30 long.
The Frenchman has always felt at home on these wide, sweeping roads. It's the closest rallying gets to circuit racing. So some early practice here for Seb as he considers a potential switch to World Touring cars.
250 mètres, gauche 110 plus long.
Loeb on his way then. Latvala 2 is into stage 13, but with a gap of almost half a minute to the man in first. He faces a tough task getting back on terms. Thierry's final day with Ford though, so he'll keep on pushing all the way to the finish. See how he gets on in Rio de Cañas. Loeb did a 10:36. This is going to be close. Not quite half a second slower. The status quo continues in the fight for victory.
Jari half a second down on Sebastian. You look disappointed again. Yeah, he is going really, really fast in this rally. I have no chance. I don't have a chance against him, to be honest. I was pretty happy with my driving. I improved from with the setup from yesterday, but still it's not enough.
Latvala sounds like he's conceding defeat, but there is still a bit of a fight on for the final podium place. Mikko Hirvonen is the man in third at the moment, but he has Voit Tanak and Mads Osberg both within 20 seconds. Fernando, the Sardinia winner, is looking comfortable on the Spanish tarmac. And an interesting innovation from the organisers here, adding a full 360 around the hairpin in the routes for a crowd-pleasing donut.
120. Huomio, varo pitkä oikein loiva.
After a torrid debut season in the WRC, meanwhile, Voit Tanak has saved the best for last with an impressive run of performances recently. It remains to be seen what the young Estonian will do in 2013. But a podium finish would be a fine way to end the current season. And Voit is slightly quicker than Hirvonen in here. Fight for third could be warming up then. Former leader Mads Osberg had a frustrating run on day 2, but with his setup changed for this final day, could we see a late charge? Getting back into third in the rally would ensure he pips Latvala in that tight fight for third place in the championship. Quicker than Hirvonen, but slower than Tanak. Mads, at least, is back up to speed this morning.
At least the car works a lot better today. We did a very big change to the car, and it's helped a lot. Still, I have some parts with me that I can fit that will make it even better, so I will do that for the next one, because this is totally different car today.
Osberg remains in 5th place for now, but that fight for third is still too close to call. Out front, Latvala remains more than 27 seconds behind Loeb, but further back there's no sign of Evgeny Novikov, the Russian having been handed a 10-minute time penalty for excessive tyre wear. The fight for third place in the championship is on. Latvala holds the advantage, but Osberg is back on it this morning. Join us after the break for the climax of this year's 2012 World Rally Championship. Welcome back to the final day of the RACC Rally de España. After stage 13 this morning, Loeb's advantage stands at 27.5 seconds over Latvala, with Tanak just 3.1 ahead of Osberg, as we cross now to the first running of the Santa Marina and La Serra del Mos stages. So Jari-Matti Latvala has been trying to take the fight to Sebastian Loeb on tarmac, but so far hasn't been able to challenge the world champion's pace. His luck could be changing here, though. He is 2.6 quicker than Loeb through stage 14. But with the kilometres running out, it could be too little, too late for the Finn. Tanak has had another good weekend following his first podium finish in Sardinia 3 weeks ago. Oh, but he's really wide and a big impact on the Armco. Oitz has got going again, but surely there must be some damage to the car mechanically. He might have got lucky, but there is some cosmetic damage to the right side.
Just went wide in place and hit the barrier and spun and everything. Yeah, but it was just because our base notes were far too slow, because we wrote them immediately after the gravel stages, and I was just pushing over the notes all the time, and this one place was like okay in notes, and that's why we did it. But okay, it's done now and whatever.
Well, this could have a massive impact on the fight for third in the championship if Mads Osberg can take advantage of Tanak's error and move into fourth. It's just 3 seconds between them going into this stage. Mads is making hard work of getting ahead. He needs a time under 16 minutes. Yeah, that is enough. Osberg moves ahead by 1.9 seconds. Sebastian Loeb, meanwhile, in complete control out front. But the Frenchman isn't matching the pace of Latvala this morning. The Finn is flying. Seb has been beaten in both stages. But with the rally winding down, has it been enough to concern the world champion? But despite a couple of near misses this weekend, it's been a good WRC debut for Hans Weiss, running in 6th overall.
50, links 2 draait door, knijpt iets. Plus links 2 snel.
Oh, he's lost it! Well, they say it's a steep learning curve in the WRC, and there's the proof. That, unsurprisingly, is the end of the road for the Dutchman. Heartbreak for Hans, but signs of life from Danny Sordo. It's taken 3 days to get that Mini on song, but now that it is, he is blisteringly quick. Danny's won every single stage so far today. He'll be asking himself what could have been had that Mini survived the day 1 stages. So after stage 15, Latvala closes the gap slightly to Loeb, while Osberg moves ahead of Tanak into 4th. Further down with Hans Weiss out, Jarkko Nakara moves up to 6th, ahead of Craig Breen, who remains on course to claim the SWRC title. Back at service in Salou, Loeb leads, but it's Latvala who's coming under increasing pressure from Osberg for that all-important 3rd place in the championship.
If I'm 2nd and Mats is 4th, then I will be 2 points ahead of him in the championship. But because you can get 3 points from the power stage, and if I don't score anything and he scores 3, then he goes ahead of me. So if he wins the power stage, then the situation is over basically for me. But so it means that you need to do well in the power stage still.
I think it looks quite difficult, but okay, if we stay in this position, we need to win the power stage, and the RE needs to take no points. So it looks a bit unlikely to happen, but we can only try.
So the fight is well and truly on then, and with the cars serviced after the midday break, it's back out to the stages for the 2nd loop, starting with Rio de Cañas. It's been quite a finale to the 2012 season for the Spanish spectators. Jari-Matti Latvala has outpaced Loeb all day so far, and it's never been more important to do so. He needs to push to the absolute limit to stop Mads Osberg from stealing that 3rd place in the championship. He's gambled on 4 hard compound Michelins, and rain is forecast for later. Nevertheless, it's a clean run through for Jari-Matti. Well, Tanak's had a mixed day with that mistake earlier.